And welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Gooned Up Nerds podcast. You know what? I see Dylan give me the face. I'm not going to do the rest of the intro. You know what? We do movie reviews. I talk about comics maybe sometimes when I get a chance. That's it. All right, so talk inside baseball here. We did do some of this podcast already, at least 20 minutes of it, this review. And turns out I didn't have the mics hooked up the right way, and I was getting audio from somewhere else, and we sounded like we were in a fishbowl the whole time.
It's great.
It was fucking horrible because we actually had some good stuff going, and I fucked it up. But, you know, thankfully, I caught it at least. We could have put out this whole thing.
That would have been miserable if we did everything.
Yes, so, you know, little miracles, and I'm just going to keep drinking to forget that I made this horrible mistake, so. But yeah, so obviously I got Dylan with me right now.
What's up?
And we're going to be doing a Japanese horror series. We're going to be doing 3 episodes. One, we're going to be doing The Grudge, which is going to be today.
Yep.
Then we're going to do The Ring. And then we're going to do The Grudge versus The Ring. Now, while we do these movies, we are going to be doing the American versions, but we will also be doing comparisons to the Japanese versions. There is no American Ring versus Grudge, correct?
No.
Okay.
There is not. I don't think there is.
I'm going to check. I'm going to see if maybe if Asylum Productions or something did it or something. But I don't even know how to begin this right now, except that...
Well, this is the cursed episode, and we're going to be doing The Grudge, which is a curse.
Yeah, this has been pretty cursed so far, especially since I've said this in every single podcast that we've done, but I am not good with horror movies whatsoever. And I'm going to say this up front. My criticism of this movie is a little bit stilted just because I could not properly critique it because I was freaking out. And apparently, according to Dylan, I am the odd man out where I'm the only one that is freaked out by this movie. And it's just because I am bad with jump scares.
Yeah, this movie is great with jump scares, but other than that, it wasn't what I remembered it being. I was not excited to rewatch it. I really thought it was going to be better, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, for people that are terrible with horror movies like me, it did actually scare me. And it did freak me out sometimes. But honestly, it was just because of the jump scares. But there were some things by the end of the American version, like some things that they did with the actual ghost, that did freak me out. It had some kind of practical effects shining kind of elements to it. Or you know what I mean? Or like The Exorcist, where you see like the head spinning or something like that.
Yeah, the effects in the American movie were much better than the Japanese movie by far.
Leagues.
By far.
Yeah.
Still kind of corny at certain parts, but for the most part, it was very enjoyable with the effects. Like you said, the jump scares were there. It's definitely a jump scare oriented movie. The story's all over the place. You're jumping back and forth in time. I think it's only a couple of weeks in this movie.
Yeah, this one actually is a little bit tighter with the
Japanese movie. I think there's a few year jumps in that one, and I still don't really understand the timeline.
Which also, I feel like in the Japanese version, they break it up into parts where it seems like they're just focusing on a character. So they'll show the title card of the character, and then they'll just play out how the movie is with this character, or how the Grudge takes a hold of this character.
Almost like acts.
Yeah, kind of like that. And in the American version, they really don't have anything like that to really organize it. You just kind of have to figure out what's happening.
Yeah, it doesn't even say like present day or past, future, or none of that. It's just next scene, and you have new characters that you need to understand real quick.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna kick this off right now, so we're gonna probably do the American version, and then slowly just put in the comparisons of the Japanese version, and then probably if you want to do a full review of the other Japanese version, we could do that.
All right, cool.
All right. So with the American version, we're just gonna go scene by scene. By the way, once again, as always, spoiler alert for all of this. But if you haven't seen this goddamn movie, if you're like an idiot like me that's been putting this off, like I haven't seen the whole movie. I saw it in clips, and it was like when it came out,
which was forever ago.
Yes, so I have barely any recollection of it except for like the main tropes of the movie. We see Bill Pullman, the president from Independence Day, And this is what I think is the waning part of his career, where he just kind of is about to get out of acting for a little while. I see him. I'm like, okay, cool. He's in this movie. I saw him in the credits, the title scene, the opening titles. I have to start being less critical when I see quotes being put up, because when I ever see quotes put up in the beginning of a movie, I already automatically judge it like poorly. I think it had more of an impact in the Japanese version when they pulled up the quotes.
The quotes definitely sound better in the Japanese one, and I think make the movie make more sense. The quote in the Japanese movie was, "When someone dies in the grip of a powerful rage, a curse is born. The curse gathers in that place of the death. Those who encounter it will be consumed by its rage." Or fury. I apologize. Fury.
Yeah. And it does explain more about not the rules, but the properties of how the ghost operates.
Yeah.
You have the American one too, correct?
That was the American one.
Oh no, I thought that was the
that was the
Japanese
American one.
Oh, that was the American one?
Yeah. Scrub.
Bullshit.
So this is the Japanese one now.
This is the Japanese, okay.
Yeah. The curse of one who dies in the grip of a powerful rage. It gathers and takes effect in the places that person was alive. Those who encounter it die, and a new curse is born.
Yes.
Yes.
That one explains more.
That explains more.
That explains more. I'm drunk. And high. Because in the American version, the title scroll just seems like just a corny another, let's just throw something creepy in the beginning of it. But
yep.
It is supposed to kind of explain how the ghost operates, and that one doesn't.
But, no, and you'll understand that as we explain throughout the scenes of the movies.
Yeah, and then, like I said, you see Bill Pullman for like 2 minutes. And then he just...
Not even.
He's on the balcony, and he just fucking flops his ass over and just fucking kills himself.
Yep. He looks very distraught.
Yeah, or like a bat. He looked like he was hungover or something. Not like he was up ready to kill himself, though.
A little confused.
Like, I don't know. At first I thought maybe the ghost made him do that. Well, I guess it kind of made him do that, right?
Definitely.
Because we'll get into it with the ghost, but he kills himself, and then we just jump to the next scene where you get introduced to Yoko, the maid. She goes into the house because you don't know exactly what's going on yet. You just know that Bill Pullman killed himself.
Not a maid. She's a social worker.
Right.
She takes care of the elderly woman that lives there. I think her name is Ellen. Is it?
What, the old lady?
Yeah.
I just call her old lady.
All right, we could call her old lady.
Just call her old lady. Whatever.
Right.
Because she doesn't stay the whole movie. Like, spoiler alert.
Yeah, she dies.
Yeah, but like so.
In like 5 minutes.
Yeah, Yoko goes into the house, notices the house is a complete wreck, and then finds the old woman and I guess she just tries to tidy up the house because she goes in. She's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" Because the old lady's just sitting there. Except clearly she's like distracted by something going on in the house. She goes up, starts cleaning the house, and then you start building up to the jump scares. This movie can be broken up into just clips of jump scares if you really want to boil it down, because that's really what it banks on in scaring the audience. It's just the jump scares. But the thing is, it builds up to it and you know it's coming. And this is why it frustrates me, because I know it's coming and I still get sucked into it.
It's so bad.
It's bad. And Dylan said this before. It's going to be suck when I actually watch a real scary movie. Like
when we watch The Descent. Oh, you're going to suffer.
What, The Descent? I remember The Descent. Descent wasn't bad.
All right.
Or maybe I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Don't get in my head. Stop trying to get in my head.
Okay. See how you handled The Ring.
Shut the fuck up.
Ring versus The Grudge.
Okay. Well, if that's the one that scares, imagine that's the one that actually scares me the worst. Like,
I'd lose faith in you.
I quit this podcast I'm quitting this podcast. It's building up to the jump scare because Yoko hears something and she starts to investigating.
Here's a noise in the attic. She heads upstairs. She's on the phone, distracted a little bit. Heads upstairs to see what the noise was. Opens the closet. Hears creaking coming from the attic. So she goes up into the attic. It's a nice scene. And she's panning around with a little lighter. And you see the Grudge spirit behind her. And the second she turns around and is facing it, she screams and it cuts to the outside scene of the closet and you just see her legs get sucked up.
That's the end of Yoko right there.
And the movie. It's over.
Yep, that's it.
That's the whole movie.
All right, guys. That was a good review. Have a good night. Oh god,
No.
if only, but like, cause like after this, like I said, it just jump scare after jump scare. But like now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually I'm piecing together a story in my head now. So we're after this, we are now jumping into another scene where we're getting introduced to another set of characters.
Karen and Doug.
The whitest of white names you could give anyone living in Japan.
Yeah.
and
It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer and some guy.
and he's really just there. He's like.
I looked his name up. He's definitely done other things too, but
No, but I mean, also his character just in general is just kind of there.
sucks.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything.
It's pointless.
And also, I feel like he's not a very attentive partner. Like, I feel like he's kind of brushing her off a little bit. Sometimes, because so obviously, what happens is she goes to work after you get introduced to these characters, and Ted Raimi, her boss, comes in and says that, hey, you're ready to go on a case by yourself. Yoko didn't show up, obviously, because she just got fucking murked.
Dead.
And he's like, oh, and she didn't give us the house key, so we're gonna just send you to the house. Which, by the way, why is that the first thing? Let's just send another person. That's not, hey, I'm the boss. Maybe I should go investigate as to why she's not back from work yet.
Or call the cops.
Or something. Or call the family that owns the house.
Yeah, or the family.
And also, by the way, I think he said that. Did he try calling the family? They just never called him back, or they're away on business or something? Because I feel like there was some kind of communication that was supposed to happen.
No, I think he even said, like, the daughter would be home, or the sister would be home.
See, this is where
or that might have been the Japanese
this
movie.
is where but this is where the timeline gets iffy, and I'll explain that in a minute. But because I'm trying to work it out in my head with the timeline, but the timeline jumps like all over the place in this movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar gets the job to go to the house. She goes to the house. Obviously, everything's still a wreck, and she sees that there's something tapping on a glass in the far other room, and it's clearly the old lady. And once again, they're building up. This one didn't get me, though. But you clearly see, like, she's creeping. Shut the fuck up. She's creeping through the house slowly. And one major gripe I have in both of these movies is that every single person is just slowly creeping through these movies.
Rika was quick. Rika was quick.
She was still kind of, like, edgy.
She was like, oh, lady in trouble. And she went right in there. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Yeah,
you're right.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, like, explored every room on the first floor of the house before she went to the struggling old lady.
Which isn't a very good testament to her as a social worker, to be honest.
No.
Like, shouldn't she just go straight for the whatever?
Or a vampire slayer.
Yeah, well, then she's clearing the rooms then at that point.
Hello.
Slowly. There's still someone suffering, you bitch. And, like, so she goes there, and then, she opens the door, and then the hand falls out with, like, the music spike, and it's supposed to be the jump scare. Didn't get me. By the way, she like tries to sit her up, clean her up or whatever. She cleans up the house a little bit. She goes upstairs and she sees that the closet has been sealed up with tape.
Because she also had to investigate a strange noise.
Oh, it was a strange
noise?
noise?
Actually just a cat, because the cat was stuck behind the door with the tape.
Oh, is that because she heard the cat noise?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't remember why. I thought she was just cleaning.
Scratching or meowing. I forget.
Oh, okay, I thought she just saw the tape and was just like, this doesn't look right, and just opened it up and shit.
Yeah, so she went to leave the room, and then the cat, like, meows, and she goes back and, like, rips it open, and that's when you're introduced to Toshio and the cat.
The creepy child.
Toshio.
Which I feel like they actually utilized Toshio a little bit more in the original, right?
Yes.
The original, because he did, and honestly, I think he was a little bit creepier in the original. I mean, granted, it was really shitty effects for the original, but I think
definitely felt like he was like evil in the original.
Yeah, he felt like more of like a presence. This one, he was just kind of put to the wayside, and I think it was the woman ghost that was more
did everything.
Yeah, did everything, but
whatever that was.
She number one, Toshio doesn't say anything to her like at all. Period. And she's like, she's concerned. She brings him downstairs. She calls up her boss, like trying to get him to come over to try and pick up this kid or figure out what's happening with this kid. Because I think, did the boss not say, like, they're not supposed to have a kid, that kind of thing? Or was it?
I don't know if he said that to her on the phone.
Okay. So anyway, she puts him in the living room, and she goes to check on the old woman. The old woman, I think this is when the woman actually speaks for the first time. And she says, I just want her to leave me alone.
She's staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, but she does say that, right?
Yeah.
She's staring at the ceiling, and then she starts freaking out. And then you see the worst CGI ghost. And I know it was 2004, this one. Still pretty fucking bad. And not only that, the original had a lower budget, but I feel like the effects were still about the same for this scene specifically. For this scene.
The only difference was really the face and the eyes.
Yes, that was it. Because in the original, it was more or less
really just paint
yeah, it was
on
paint.
the face.
And this one, you actually had CG shadow around some eyes.
Yeah.
But it still looked fucking terrible. But at this point, too, the Grudge ghost finally sees Karen and is just like basically locking eyes with her, saying, okay, you're next. Like,
Yep.
That's it. You're done.
And then it just cuts and goes to the next scene.
I think that's one of my main problems with this. It doesn't flow.
Not at all.
Like, at all. Like, it's scene by scene. It's literally like, just, this is what happens next.
And if they just did what the Japanese movie did,
yeah, it
listing
floats.
the character's name, something as simple as that, as like an act or a cutscene.
Yeah, no, and it floats so much better in the Japanese one. And I'll say that right now. Honestly, the Japanese one is it's a more well put together film.
Definitely.
But this one,
bad acting and bad music and
bad effects.
You
You know what it was? That
Story
one
was great.
Yeah.
Story definitely made more sense. A little harder to get because the time jumps are definitely a lot further apart in the Japanese movie. And there's a few new different characters going on also. But the story is definitely much better and makes more sense.
And also, like, honestly, that movie felt like it had more heart to it. Like, it had almost like a George Romero Day of the Dead feel to it. Also just because of the effects and stuff. But you can definitely tell, like, I had a story to tell. I just didn't have the budget to tell it the way I want to. Which is why, like, when you see the American one, because it's the same director. And I'm going to butcher the name again.
It's Takashi Shimizu.
Yes, Takashi Shimizu. He directed both the American and the Japanese version.
Along with like 9 other Japanese movies.
You mean Grudge movies?
Yes.
He did all of them?
I think he didn't do 2 of them.
Wow, that's still a lot, though. I mean,
I think for the most part, he did all of them. He did, because there's also 2 Grudge movies before the movie that everyone knows. They're like straight to TV short movies in Japan.
Because, I mean, it's really rare that you see, like, someone still directing their first magnum opus like that and not, like, just producing the sequels. Because usually by then they just want to give up on it and just like, here, you can take it, but I'll produce it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does, like, 5, 6 of them.
All right. And I wonder if he does this screenwriting for those, because the other ones are all Japanese, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And because I know this one, we had a different screenwriter for this.
Yeah.
The screenplay is actually done by Steven Tusko. I have to see what else he did, but he's the one that adapted the original movie. One of the things that I had a gripe with the American version, it feels like he had more studio interference, where they're just like, hey, you have to get these scares in. Like the American audience doesn't want to do psychological shit. Like, we just want you to fucking scare us. I feel like that hindered what he was trying to do, because I feel like if he just adapted that original story with new effects and better actors, it would have been fucking phenomenal. It would have been awesome.
Definitely.
And it still would have, like, freaked me the fuck out, because the only thing about the Japanese version is they had almost kind of the same scares going through it. But because of the effects, it just didn't hit you as hard as you want it to hit you.
Yeah. The movies are almost identical for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a few different things that go on that have a little bit more detail, I feel. And there, like I said, there's a couple of different characters that are introduced in the Japanese movie.
Yeah. Anyways, as we're going to the American version, like I said, it just goes into the next scene right after, Karen locks eyes with the ghost. And we go basically into the old lady's backstory with her family coming into the house. And then you got to meet the husband's mother, right?
It's the husband's mother, and the sister is there too.
Okay, the sister.
So it's a brother and a sister, the mother, and then the wife.
And then the wife. Okay. What was his name? Claire Duval
Yeah,
Duval?
from The Faculty and I think Ghosts of Mars.
Was she the wife?
Yes.
Okay, she was the wife. She still looked kind of young. For a second there, I thought she was actually playing the daughter, and I got confused, but I'm like, wait, there's no daughter.
Yeah,
and
that's the wife. The sister had already been working in Japan, I believe, and she's the one who found the house for them.
Oh, okay, I see.
And the husband just got a job there.
Honestly, like the old lady obviously already senses the ghost in the house because she's like staring at the ceiling and shit.
They just think it's like her dementia.
Yeah, and the ghost wastes no time. Like,
no.
It immediately just starts fucking with him because he doesn't even like lock eyes with them.
Within like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and which is why like one thing it's like
it messes with the realtor like day one.
Yeah, it's like anyone that comes into that house is basically up for grabs. Like you're
fucked.
I'm trying to think. Has anyone gone into the house that you could tell from the movie that's gone in and not been affected by it?
No.
No,
Everyone who's entered that house has been affected like pretty much immediately.
Yeah, and it's really fucked up because like this ghost, like I'll say this, it's more like it's almost like watching a slasher, but it's a ghost. So there's like imagine Mike Myers but with ghost powers, where it's just like I'm coming for you. Like there's nothing you can do about it. Like
Wherever you are, whenever I want,
yeah, it's not like
however I want.
yeah, it's not like oh, it's only when you come into the house. Because I would feel like a ghost like that would, or if they were gonna do it more subtle, it'd be like I'm gonna like haunt you outside of the house, but to lure you back in so I can take you, that kind of thing. But this ghost just will kill you wherever, whenever.
Yep.
And so it immediately starts fucking with his family. And I believe it's the wife that gets it first.
The wife gets it first. The husband's at work, and the sister's at work.
Yes. The wife, sees that her stuff got spilled after she takes a nap, and she thinks it's the mother.
She keeps hearing scampering upstairs, so she goes to the staircase, and you see a black cat. And she's like, oh, why is there a black cat there? And then you see Toshio's hands like pick the cat up and bring it away. And she jumps back and, instead of leaving and getting help, she goes and continues to investigate, where she just enters a room and the door shuts behind her. End scene.
And it's funny because I always want to say, oh, that's just typical dumb white people horror shit. But if you look at the original Grudge, that's basically what they do the whole movie too.
Yep.
It's like I can't even say anything. It's just I guess just dumb ghost people rules. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just dumb horror people rules. Like I just hate that whole like I have to investigate. No, you see white hands in an unknown house grab a cat that you've never seen before and just go run up the stairs. You fucking call the cops.
100%.
Like, I mean, as much as I don't like the cops, you clearly don't have a gun.
Yeah, you don't stay in the house when you do it either.
Exactly. Like, or grab a weapon or something at the very least. I know you have a kitchen knife. Go grab one of those. So she goes upstairs to investigate. Like you said, gets basically taken out. The husband comes home, or do they go to the sister next?
I believe it's the husband comes
home. Okay.
Yeah.
So the husband comes home, sees the house still all messed up. The mother is, I think, still just kind of chilling there. Goes up to check on the wife.
She's in like a weird trance.
She's in a catatonic state.
Yeah.
She's clearly like in shock. And then he sees Toshio, but in ghost form, all like white with the eyeliner and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't understand who he is or why he's in the house. So he's like, I'm going to go call someone. And then that's when he falls into the dresser, I believe.
Yeah, and then the woman comes and takes him.
Yep.
And then after that, they go to the sister at work or coming from work or something. She's in the hallway and has like a whole thing.
We're not at the sister yet.
Oh, we're not at the sister.
No, first we find Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, they jump back.
Yeah, Alex.
They jump back.
So they go back to when Alex goes to the house now, and he finds the old lady dead. By the way, her name is Emma.
Okay. Not old woman.
Not old woman. Sarah Michelle Gellar in the corner of the room, just like in a trance, freaking out. So Alex calls the police. That's when they cut to Susan, the sister.
I mean, the whole thing with that whole scene is just the police investigating. You get introduced to the detectives finally too. And they do play. Well, at least one of the detectives plays more of a bigger role later in the movie.
He knew two other people on the case.
So at that point, we get introduced to what happens to the sister. The sister is coming out of work, and she feels like something's following her in the hallways, and she goes down the stairs to go wherever she needs to go. And then you suddenly see like the lights flicker above her or whatever. I think at a certain point you do see like either Toshio or the woman ghost like above her first.
Okay.
I think
like
I didn't in the corner
catch that.
Because I feel like if you look in the background of a lot of places,
Toshio.
Yeah, just up there, just staring at her. But I mean, you clearly don't. She doesn't notice it or anything. But then she starts hearing on the bottom floor something coming up.
That creaking, and you see woman ghost, which by her name is Kayoko.
I mean, do they actually? They don't really give the names yet, right? You don't know their names yet.
Except for Toshio, no. You don't know anyone's name.
But yeah, Kayako or something? Kayoko, okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher all these names. I'm not good with names. So you can hear her contorting and creeping up the stairs, and then you see Susan freaking out, And then she sees that upstairs the lights are slowly starting to go out
off on her.
floor by floor. So she just goes back to the hallway that she came from.
And Kyoko like grabs her cell phone and breaks off the little like teddy bear charm that she had on it.
Yeah, which by the way, that hand looked really fake. That just came out and grabbed it, and that was actually a really cheap looking scene.
Especially when they show like Kyoko's face and the hand in like the same scene.
Oh yeah, and it
doesn't match up at all.
Which by the way, it's weird how they pick and choose when to add the better effects, because that's basically it feels like they just use better makeup.
Yeah.
Because in the original movie, that's basically what they were, just painted white with eyeliner.
Yeah, there was no effects in the original movie. It was all makeup.
And practical stuff. You know, she runs away, and I guess the security is on that same floor or something, right?
She runs to the security office, and she's asking for help, and the security guard says, all right, I'll go check it out. And he doesn't see anything, and he goes back to her, but then she sees Kyoko coming out of the door after he leaves. In the Japanese movie, he dies.
Oh yeah, I thought that
it pulls him in.
Oh, okay, because she sees that the thing is coming towards her through the camera, anyways. Yeah. And then she runs out, somehow gets out, and
like no problem.
Yeah,
even though she just encountered an issue trying to leave.
Yeah, and
now
then
she can leave.
Yeah, and then she gets home or whatever. I don't know what she's doing, but she gets to the phone, right? The phone rings.
She gets a phone call from her brother Matt, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here. Like, buzz so I could get in." This part was kind of cool.
Okay.
And she's like, "All right, I'll buzz you in," but it's really the ghost because he's dead. It's kind of cool that the ghost like played him. Mm-hmm. So she buzzes him in, and he's at the door like instantly knocking. Like the second she hits the buzzer for him to enter the apartment complex, and she looks through the hole and it's him. So she opens the door, but no one's there. But she never hung up the receiver, and you start hearing the Grudge noise. And she drops the phone, but you still hear it, and she shuts the door and hides under her sheets. And this is when the Grudge comes up in her sheets and sucks her into oblivion.
Yeah, and it's like, why was the sheets the first place you went to? I don't know. I would have probably found a closet or something. I mean, granted, that wouldn't have helped regardless, but I mean, I feel like the sheets were like the last place I would go if I were hiding.
Not really hiding.
Yeah, so she gets taken, and clearly she's dead. Like, that's it. It's over for her.
Done.
And then at this point, we jump to, where are we at now? Because, like, jumps all over the place, and it's not really anything linear, so it just, what's the next scene?
So next, the detectives are talking to Karen at the hospital and tell her how they find the family dead upstairs in the attic.
Gotcha. And then also, obviously, the old woman is dead at this point, too, so that whole family's gone now.
Yes.
And then now, so the ghost kind of is focused on all the new people that entered that house. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I guess now the detective as well.
Yeah, the detective, Alex.
Yeah, and he starts explaining like also the boy that she encountered. They never had a kid. Those people that live there. Number one.
That's all he says. I don't think.
Oh, he doesn't reveal anything else to it. No. Oh, okay, never mind. So, but yeah, no, he basically said, yeah, they don't have a kid. So that kid didn't belong to them. We move on to
the shower.
Oh, when she gets home.
Little jump scare scene.
I mean, that one wasn't that freaky, but I mean, that scene is actually pretty iconic to this franchise.
Yeah.
You know, they use that in every single iteration of this franchise. And the Japanese version, it's fucking terrible though.
Oh yeah, you literally see like someone else's hand resting there.
No, but it's not even like someone's hand. It's like a little plastic, like cloven. Like it doesn't look like a real hand. Like it's really stupid. But in this one they actually do the whole thing where the hand's actually doing the motions of rubbing her hair along with her or whatever. It's really weird, but it was a cool scene. I actually like that one. So then, but that's her just she's slowly getting more and more freaked out because there's a point too where she's traveling on the bus with her boyfriend because she goes to visit her boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right before this.
Yeah, and when she's looking just at because once again this one gets me because nothing was supposed to happen. She's on the fucking bus. And I guess that's the whole point of this, or it's supposed to be like, hey, you're not supposed to feel safe. She's never going to feel safe. So now you can't feel safe as an audience. So like, cause she's just staring at it and then suddenly in the reflection, blah! Like, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, you see Kyoko's face.
So, and then after this, this is when she starts investigating, I believe.
Well, then we go to Alex and Yoko.
Oh, is this when okay. So this is when the boss, played by Ted Raimi, he basically eats it too because he entered the house. he goes down. Actually, this is pretty cool. He goes down the stars, and as he passes
the one
by,
gory scene.
yeah, he passes by the, and I guarantee you, this is because of this. No, you said this was in a
This
original
was in one
iteration.
of the prequel movies, I guess.
Okay. Ted Raimi's coming down the stairs. Toshio's in the corner. He's like, "Oh, what the hell was that in the corner of my eye?" You know, Toshio's gone, obviously, and then he sees that someone's walking into the office and just trying to go down the stairs, leaking blood everywhere. I don't know how he thinks that it's automatically Yoko, but I guess he could just tell.
She turns around at one point, and I think that's when he says Yoko, and then she like lifts her head up in the weird clicky, clacky, snappy, contorty way to reveal no lower jawbone, and her tongue just all
hanging out and shit,
flapping around and everything.
Which was, I mean, that's honestly, I would have thought if you hadn't told me it was in a movie before that was the studio.
If you saw what that looked like.
Wait, you saw it in the original?
Yeah.
How bad is it?
It's horrible. It's so bad.
I gotta see this.
It makes seeing this one like gold.
Oh my god, I gotta see this.
And this one's awful.
I gotta see this. So anyway, so obviously at this point, Ted Raimi, because it says he dies because of this. Like, I think Yoko kills him.
Yeah, he just goes missing.
Yeah.
Just like Susan.
I think they say later on that they find his body somewhere, right, or whatever.
Nope.
No,
He's just missing. They find his body in the Japanese movie.
Okay. After this, then that's when Karen starts doing investigating and stuff like that. And that's when she discovers what happened with the family there, right? She finds their pictures and stuff.
She goes and visits the wife
of Bill
Pullman and finds all the pictures and then sees that Keioko's like in the background of all the pictures.
Which is hella creepy.
Yeah.
And also, like, when I see this going down, like, I'm already creating theories in my head like I always do with all these movies. I assume that actually Bill Pullman was a professor, because I think they already mentioned at this point that he is a professor.
He is.
That he slept with one of his students, and then it turns out that the husband discovered that she slept with him, and that's, you know, whatever happens. But this is adds another.
She's just a full-on whack job.
Yeah, she's just fucking creepy stalker level. Like, and the thing is, she's creepy without the makeup.
Yeah.
Like, she's just in the background, just mean mugging like whoever he's with, and it's just so fucking because.
She has her journal, like, I fell in love with a man. He doesn't know who I am and all this shit.
She has, like, what is it, little bits of his hair,
Yeah.
like, taped to it and shit. Like, it adds
cutouts.
It adds a whole new level of creepiness and just a whole new level of, like, wow, I know why this ghost is so aggressive now.
Kind of like the Audition.
What was that?
Like the Audition.
Yes, except better, because honestly, the Audition pissed me off. I want to see it again because, you know, we were young. And I just wanted gore.
We can rewatch it.
Because I keep hearing from other people, it's technically considered like an actual horror classic. And I'm like, I remember watching it, I remember hating it, and being really pissed that all the good shit was saved to the last 5 minutes.
Well, if the Grudge scared you, maybe this one will.
Because you know what it is? I feel like if I saw the Grudge when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have freaked out that bad. I don't know what it is. I'm just not good with horror now, like at all. Anyway, so she finds out about the family or whatever, and she goes back to the detective, correct?
First, we see the flashback of Peter visiting the house with Keiko and getting the curse.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because he goes into the house. He
gets the letters.
He goes
to see what's going on, finds the kid. He's waiting for someone to come home. No one ever comes home. Then they cut back, but it's only like half of a flashback. Because then they cut back to the detective pretty much telling Sarah Michelle Gellar that they're both cursed and can't do shit about it. Game over, GG. Yeah,
even in the flashback, though, they already pretty much... I thought he actually was going to... That's... Because it's weird. It's like he finally eats it in the beginning of the movie, but if they didn't have that beginning scene, I would have assumed that this is where he ate it because you see Toshio turn and do the cat noise.
Just to look at him from behind and just meow.
Yeah.
Toshio just opens his mouth and meow.
Yeah, I mean, the meowing thing, it didn't freak me out, but I thought it was kind of stupid. I understand why he did it, and it's interesting, but I don't like it. That's just it.
I think it happens because the cat and Toshio were killed at the same time. So
Oh, yeah,
their,
no,
their
that
spirits are fused.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I
Yeah.
understood what he was doing, but I'm just like, I don't feel like it worked. You know what I mean? Like, Toshio's creepy enough as it is. He doesn't have to meow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, anyways, then after that, you're right. It's like a half flashback, as you later find out. We cut back to you were right. With the whole detective thing, he reveals everything, and then she goes back home or something, right? And
She goes back home.
the boyfriend can't find her.
So he goes to the house.
Yes, but also simultaneously, the detective goes home, and he kind of, I think something clicks in his head. I don't really remember the dialogue, but
no, he sees the security footage.
No, that was way before.
That was before?
That was way before.
Okay.
That was before where he sees the security footage, and then, like, obviously he locks eyes with the ghost.
Right. He's looking at the pictures of his friends and everything. And
Yeah.
then he's like, all right, screw it. And he gets the gas cans and...
Yep, and he says, I'm going to fucking set fire to this place so that this doesn't happen to anybody else, which is honestly the smartest thing you could probably do. Granted, if he gets caught, he's going to jail.
No, man. Movies have made me think otherwise, or certain movies make you feel like you burn down, like, the building, like it's just going to go everywhere.
I don't know. I don't think that's how that works. I mean,
Maybe. I don't know.
It makes sense, though. I mean, logically, if you think about it, wouldn't you do the same thing?
Yeah. Well, fire purifies also.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's purification. Now it's not going to spread everywhere. Okay.
Well, it's one or the other.
Oh my God. But
That's horror.
So yeah, it's true. They do whatever the fuck they want. So the guy goes to try and burn the house, and then he goes he hears something like upstairs, right? He goes upstairs, and then he sees the bathtub and the kid in the bathtub. He tries to rescue the kid or whatever, but then behind him you see a man. And the man comes in and puts his head into the tub and basically drowns him. Which, by the way, at this point, never seen another guy before, so I was completely taken off guard by this because I have no fucking idea who this is. I only know Toshio and the chick.
Yeah, this guy.
Don't know who the fuck this guy is because they don't mention him.
They don't. I mean, they mention him.
I mean,
but they never show him.
Yeah,
you see pictures of him. He is like in the Japanese movie.
Oh yes,
he's also in the prequels.
Plays a bigger role too, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, so he drowns this dude, and at this point the boyfriend.
By the way, like I know, like you saw the kid drowning upstairs, and you hear all these weird noises, but like the house is haunted. I'm sorry, but like
fair point.
I'm just burning the house down. You also know what the ghost kid looks like. I'm burning the house down. Fuck that shit. I'm burning it down. Even though I was talking about that other shit before. But anyway, we're talking about the burning down shit. I'm burning that shit down. No matter what noises are coming from upstairs. You fucked up for being in there. You're probably going to die anyway. Doing you a favor.
Yeah, for real. Like, that's actually true. Because they're like, oh, well, you're already in the house, so you're screwed anyway. So let's all burn. Like, you know what I mean? So,
seriously.
Yeah, he gets taken out. The boyfriend gets to the house. Does he immediately like see the ghost or anything, or does it just kind of cut when he gets to the house and then Sarah Michelle Gellar running to the house? I forget if he has any interaction with the ghost.
I think it comes down the stairs on him.
No, it doesn't.
No?
That's for Sarah Michelle Gellar at the end.
No, I think she just finds him like collapsed in the house or something.
No, because I remember that she finally comes into the house looking for him, and then that's when you do the full flashback of what happens to Bill Pullman. It's like I said, it's a weird thing, but the ghost kind of like shows her what actually happened or how this whole thing kind of kicked off. It shows Bill Pullman going upstairs, investigating while Toshio is just chilling downstairs, and he sees the notes and the diary with all the creepy shit, the all creepy stalker shit, and then you see that all these pictures of the family with the wife's face cut out. Later they show why the faces are all cut out and shit, but then he's like, he goes up into, does he hear something in the...
Well, here's the banging. And it's No, he makes the banging. He walks into the room and I think bumps into the husband that's hanging. And that's where you like hear the banging.
Oh, okay.
And that's where Sarah Michelle Gellar goes into the room.
Oh, okay.
And sees the husband hanging.
Yeah, and then then eventually he does find Kayako.
Yeah. Isn't she like in the tub? Like
no, she was in she was in the attic.
She fell out, right?
Yeah, she fell out and like locked eyes with him, like, you know. And at that point he like runs out of the house or whatever. And then after that you actually see like a black and white film-ish kind of thing, a flashback, where Sarah Michelle Gellar isn't in this. It's like a legit flashback of what happened. The husband discovered that the wife is in love with this other guy, like stalkerishly in love with this other guy. And the husband is clearly mentally ill as well.
Yeah.
And obviously kills the wife, or begins to kill the wife, kills the cat and the son, you're right, by drowning them together.
Both of them, yeah.
He's also cutting out the wife's face out of all the pictures and shit.
Yeah.
He's going crazy like that, and then he kills the wife, brutal fashion, and she's crawling. There's a part where she's crawling down the stairs, like how she contorts all over the stairs, or she's crawling down the stairs because the guy's stabbed her to death or gutted her or something.
Yeah.
And she's suffering, and then eventually, he kills her, and does he kill himself or does?
So I think he hangs himself in the American movie.
Yeah. So he kills
himself. In the Japanese movie, they find him dead in the middle of the street. I think he gets killed by the ghost immediately after he kills them.
In the Japanese one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically she just gets the whole rundown of why all this is kicking off. And then this is the third act, so all the scary shit starts coming out or whatever. There's this one part where it did freak me out, where the
mirror.
Was it the mirror? It's she was actually through the doorway or something, where she's up. You see the chick's head up top, and then it contorts and then just runs.
Really?
Goes down.
Really?
Yes, it freaked me out.
Really? That scared you?
That freaked me out.
Like the head on the stick going down the door frame.
Okay, it scared me a little bit.
On the pulley system.
It scared because it was quick. All right, it was quick.
All right.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Man, I thought I would have gave it to you if you said the mirror part where she walks by the mirror and you see Kyoko instead of her.
See,
reflection.
That didn't scare me though.
See, I thought I would have gave you a little credit if you're like, oh, that made me jump a little bit. I'd be like, all right, I could see that.
No, the head on the stick, that got me.
Was stupid as fuck.
But the mirror didn't get me though.
Whatever. Oh, good. At least something didn't scare you.
Shut the fuck up. But so, everything is starting to kick off. She goes downstairs. I think she finally finds her boyfriend, right?
Yeah, he's also kind of
he's in shock.
In a trance.
He's in shock, and then finally the chick starts contorting down the stairs. The whole thing you see her, and actually the makeup in this one is a little better. They actually added more blood to her face and stuff. They made her eyes a little bit more bloodshot.
The final scene, she's all bloodied.
Yeah, and then she's just coming down the stairs. She's locking eyes with Karen, and she goes to the boyfriend.
She touches his ankle, and then he
dies.
Comes back to life, and then dies.
And then dies from shock immediately. And then the rest of the time, it's just Karen waiting for this
light. Well, she's trying to
get
the lighter because she sees all the gas tanks and then lights the house on fire.
Yeah, as the Grudge ghost is crawling over her slowly, making the noise and shit, and then it just kind of fades away, and you don't know if what happens to her really. But then I guess they cut at this point to the mental hospital, right?
The morgue, I think.
Is it the morgue?
Yeah, because they're talking about finding the boyfriend's body.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, and then
they don't know how she's alive.
Yeah, and also that she didn't burn the house down, it's still up.
Yeah, they saved it.
Jackasses.
We saved the house.
And
no,
you idiot. She's going to I guess identify the boyfriend's body, right?
Yes.
And then I thought she was in a mental kind of situation because she's in a gown and everything.
She's either in the hospital or a mental ward. I'm pretty sure she's admitted in the second movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, so she's still alive in the second movie.
Whoops. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's ambiguous because she goes to identify the boyfriend, and then she sees that the thing jumps.
Oh yeah, it jumps, and then the hand falls out, and it's the Grudge hand.
And then you see the hair coming down.
But then it turns into the boyfriend.
Yeah, but then not only that, you
the nurse behind her. You notice that when they all left the room, there was a nurse who stayed in the room facing the corner.
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was really creepy.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the ghost because she suddenly hears the noise and then she swings around and it's the ghost. Yep. And that's how the movie fucking
and then the movie ends.
And the movie ends. Honestly, if the movie was way too fucking choppy, if I'm gonna make any other critique, it just things happened. There was no really a steady flow to this story. It's they tried telling a story, but they were so focused on the scares that it just didn't come out as well as in the original one. Because if we're going to get into the original one a little bit, I mean, I don't want this to run too long, but because we did already make the comparison.
Well, just because, so I'll just bring up a few of the things that I thought were cool, that were different. they kind of go over the possession a little bit more in the Japanese one.
Yeah.
So when you're at the house, Hitomi the sister. So Hitomi is this. We haven't talked about any of the Japanese characters. I just realized.
Yeah. We
So
did. I guess we'll just go through it quick.
so how there's the husband, the wife, and the sister, and
Yes.
the elderly mother.
Yes.
That family. The sister actually comes over after the ghost has quote unquote killed the wife and husband,
Mm-hmm.
but the husband's actually possessed. Already killed the
Yeah,
wife. He's
you're right.
possessed with the husband, and tells the sister like, everything's fine. Just leave. Get out of my house. But he's also mumbling like, that's not my child. That's not my child.
Yep,
Like
yep.
she loves another man. But he's like, everything's fine. Get out. And like rushes the sister out. So like you get a little possession shown, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Another part is you're introduced to 2 or 3 different characters. There's Izumi,
Yes.
which is the daughter of a detective that was on the case
Mm-hmm.
that survived. Like I think
It's
everyone.
almost like it's almost kind of like telling the story of the other detectives' friends in the American version.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much what it kind of feels like.
Yeah. So like how the detective's friends died in the American version. This
Yeah.
was, I feel like that detective
Yeah.
that died.
So I mean, they do add some other things to it because the American one has all the time jumps, but in the Japanese one, and I think you did mention this earlier, I'm not sure, but if this one the time jumps are way longer because the American one takes place in the span of what seems like maybe a month or two, maybe
At tops.
at tops, and this
the
one,
murder is 3 years in the past.
yes,
The initial murder.
yeah, but then in the Japanese one, it seems to like spread over the course of a couple years, right? Or maybe
yeah, because you
5
see
years.
Izumi as a little girl, and then you see her in like middle school or high school.
Yeah, and with the Japanese movie, like I said, it seems more like an anthology as like, hey, this is the story of what happens of these different people when they go into this house. Like,
Yeah.
this is what happens, how the curse takes them.
And that's why I thought the quote makes a lot more sense in the Japanese movie.
Yes.
Because it says when someone dies from that curse, a new curse is born.
Yep.
So it's the curse is just continuing and going after new victims that are related to that person in some way.
But yeah, I mean, I like the Japanese version, honestly, more as a film. Like I said that before.
Story-wise and
Better.
all that, it was definitely much better. You could follow it for sure. It's a little harder, but it's there if you pay attention. The American one's just kind of broken up a little bit too much.
Like I said, it would have been so much better.
Neither of them were scary, but
no, but the thing is, if you just combine elements of both, you would have gotten an awesome movie.
definitely.
But like I said, the Japanese one had a lot more story. It had a lot more heart to it. The acting was all right.
Honestly, there's a good chance I'm going to go home tonight and watch the reboot.
Oh, of the new Grudge, because
Yeah.
there is, what was it, 2000?
Came out in 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And it has the same old lady from every Conjuring movie that there is. She just plays the
Is it
creepy
really?
old. Yeah, I think it plays the creep. She plays the creepy old lady. I'll say this too: in the Japanese version, the lady that plays the family's grandmother, super creepy.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat, like she's like all the old people in this are really good at being creepy. Because like there's a moment where you actually Karen's Japanese counterpart.
Rika.
Yeah.
The peekaboo scene.
Yeah, the peekaboo
I love
scene.
the peekaboo scene.
And it's like,
he's in the reboot, I think.
oh, the old guy?
Or
Well, someone that
not
plays.
the reboot. No. The old guy. Not
The
the
actual
reboot.
old
Not
guy?
the reboot. Not the reboot. He's in 2 or 3.
Oh,
He's
really?
in Grudge 2 or 3 of the American movie. They bring him
Interesting.
back, and he's like sitting in the bus doing it with someone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, because I really like that scene because it's really creepy. Because like because not for nothing, that was the one thing that actually kind of did viscerally kind of like get to me a little bit. Because the rest of this movie is really not scary. She's pushing along, and he's just doing the peekaboo and like ignoring her, was it Rico, right?
Rika, the house worker, everyone just like playing peekaboo with nothing.
And then you see when she goes into the office or the nursing home that when the door closes, you see the reflection of Toshio
in the mirror.
Yeah, which is like a weird kind of addition to like the lore for this ghost. I guess elderly people are just able to see these ghosts.
Or sense them or feel them.
Yeah, something like that. Or because or maybe people with dementia.
I
Because
also love how like Rika's just always being haunted, and they only show themselves like when they want to.
Yeah, which is kind of fucked up. It's weird because one of my gripes with this is that there's really not the rules of this ghost don't add up half the time because in the Japanese version, I guess it makes more sense because of the quote at the beginning because
Yeah.
the grudge curse kind of evolves as whoever it takes over at a certain point.
Yeah.
So because by like I said, there was the whole thing with like okay, so Toshio they're just fucking with her just to fuck with her, but in the American version, they're gonna kill you regardless. Doesn't matter.
Because there's a few parts where I think they mess with Rika,
Mhm.
and they just mess with her. Like, they didn't kill her.
Yeah,
They were
and
just
then
there.
what
When
was
all
it?
the cats are in a room.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
She, like, wakes up, and there's just, like, 15 black cats in the room. I think there's supposed to be some irony behind that. If I remember correctly, black cats are actually supposed to be good luck.
Really?
In Japanese culture. I could be wrong, but I think the reason why they kept doing the black cat was supposed to be the irony
Oh,
and
interesting.
all these bad things happening. Yeah.
It's. I mean, not only that, like as we go forward, I mean, if we're gonna go towards the biggest difference was pretty much towards the end of the Japanese
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
So like, because we get introduced to those detectives, like you said, and you get introduced to the daughter. So the father is actually the detective that goes back to the house to try and burn it down, and the other two detectives come back to try and like find him or talk some sense into him
To stop him.
Yeah, but at this point, the dad he actually goes upstairs and he actually sees not a flashback, but
The
he sees
future.
the future of like the daughter coming into the is she coming into the house?
She's running out
She's running out of the house.
and leaving her friends behind because
Basically
they were
saying-
like, yeah.
Basically saying the ghost is like calling out, "Hey, I'm taking her too."
Yep.
Like just so you know. Like which is a weird thing cuz it's like how does this go with the rules? Like how is this I don't know, because I know the curse evolves, but it seems like it has the foresight of going, "Hey, look, I'm going after your kid already."
It's crazy, yeah.
So it's
I
like,
didn't think of it like that.
so it's a little weird. But the thing is, with this ghost, it's which is the terrifying thing about it. It's like, no matter what, it is the Terminator of ghosts. No
You're
matter
not getting away.
whatever you do, you're not getting away, and I'm going to take whatever I want to take from you. Like that. That's it. I guess that is a testament to what the ghost is supposed to be. It's supposed to be pure rage and revenge.
Yeah.
So it just does whatever it needs to do to get that effect, you know? And then obviously the detectives come, and then the grudge ghost comes down the stairs, and they're all freaked out and like
Kills the two detectives, but
Yeah.
he gets out.
He gets out, but he dies later.
Yeah,
from
he
going
goes
insane.
like crazy and like
But-
hangs himself or kills himself.
Yeah, and then we get the daughter's story after that because
He's grown up now.
who's growing up, and that's where the time jumps are a little bit more drastic because it just jumps like years into the future. It's her dealing with the aftermath of when her and her friends went to the house, and she ran out, but they stayed, and her
Yes.
friends went missing, so clearly they're fucking dead. And the entire time has PTSD, she's getting haunted. She's basically showing symptoms of
What her father was showing.
Yeah, which is interesting because I mean I wanted to mention this a little earlier, but it gave me little hints of like It Follows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, hey, it's gonna come after you no matter what, and it gets passed. And with
It
the
passes
daughter,
on.
it passes on. No matter what, it's going to pass on to someone. So like,
I could see where It Follows could have drawn.
yeah, especially when you see that the stuff plastered on the windows.
Hiding so
Hiding.
they can't see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, how they were she was freaking out when the friends came over to open the blinds. He's like, close the blinds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anything to get in. But yeah, at that point, the girl gets taken, but it's the zombie versions of her friends come to take her, correct?
Well, they start pushing her forward, but then Kyoko like comes out of the dresser
Oh yeah, and
and
takes
pulls
her.
her in, and then the friends just kind of end scene, and then you see the ghost of Izumi and her father.
And her father.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's actually no, she doesn't say. I think she gets taken to the little shrine that the mom
The
prays
shrine,
to.
yeah.
But yeah, the movie ends right after that, right?
No,
What happens after? I don't
that's
remember that part.
when Rika and her friend go back into the house.
Oh,
and you
okay, and she
see-
has the final scene there.
And then you
Okay.
see Rika's friend get pulled into the attic as soon as she gets there to try and stop her. And then Kyoko crawls down the staircase after Rika, and Rika like covers her face, but then the hand is like underneath her hand,
Yeah, I don't know what that was supposed to be, but I
Neither do
thought
I.
also it tied together with that peekaboo thing.
Maybe.
I don't know because I don't know if there was something they were supposed to be in it. Maybe that's what she played with her son. They just didn't throw it into the movie or something. And that was a thing. I don't know, but
Could
she was
be.
doing that like because she would remember. I think she had a flashback of the old guy doing peekaboo, and then she started doing it, but she like kept her eyes open so that she could still see.
And then when she did it, Kyoko was like human again,
Yeah, and
not
she
a
wasn't.
ghost.
Yeah, not like super scary or anything.
And you're like, oh, she beat it. She's gonna live.
But she doesn't.
Nope. And then the father, Sayaki, comes downstairs and kills her.
Yep, and that's where
And that's when the movie ends.
yeah, and honestly, like I said, with the Japanese version, I felt like it was a more well put together story. I felt like all the characters had a little bit like more to do, as opposed to the American one where it's just kind of like, hey, look, you get introduced them for a second, but they're gonna die like that. But yeah, I mean, overall, if we're gonna compare the two, I do like the Japanese version better. I mean, if I wasn't such a pussy with the first one, I'm gonna say straight up, it's still not as good a film as the Japanese one. Especially since, like I said, it's basically just a jump scare clip show. That's really what it is.
The story really isn't there. It doesn't develop like how it develops in the Japanese one, I feel like.
You know, overall, like I guess, I mean, for you as a horror fan, the American Grudge, like how would you rate that amongst like paranormal or like the ghost or Japanese horror movies? Since that's what our topic is about.
I don't know because I need to rewatch The Ring and the other ones now. And I feel like they're going to be a lot different because, like how you were saying, almost feels like an anthology.
Yeah.
I know no matter what, the other movies are going to flow much better.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen The Ring. And
Listen, The Ring might not. This didn't scare me. If we're going to talk about scary and all that, like, I was not scared at all. Like, Dana was not scared at all.
See, this is what kills me. No one was scared.
It was boring. Like I had to like pause it a couple of times, do something, come back to it. Not because I was just like I'm gonna fall asleep and I need to watch this movie. I need to be awake.
What has become of me?
I don't know how it's gonna match up compared to The Ring or any other Japanese horror movies I'm gonna watch.
And
but
you will
I
find
do feel that it will flow much better.
Yes. Well,
or
that's
the other movies are gonna flow much better than The Grudge and Ju-on.
yeah. I feel like the director was being really ambitious when he tried doing the time jump stuff. That's really what it is. Because I'm just like, oh, this director is just trying to do the Memento thing, just not as good. But it's I mean, overall, I enjoyed the Japanese one. In terms of scares, yes, I enjoyed the American one. In terms of me getting scared, because it actually fucking scared me. But as a film, it's just doesn't hold up. I don't really like it as a film. Just because, like I said, it's not really a film. It's a clip show. Or it took the anthology thing and just kind of really fucked it up. Like, it didn't feel like an anthology like the Japanese one did, and the Japanese one definitely flowed better. And I feel like they were trying to do that here, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, like, overall, Japanese version is better. If you're going to watch either or, and let's say you don't scare at all, I would just watch the Japanese one for a better story.
I would have to agree with that. The story is I've said it like 1,000 times already, but the story is definitely much better in the Japanese one. It might be a little confusing. You might have to watch it once or twice, but if you're okay with not good effects and like mediocre acting and watching subtitles, it's definitely worth it for the story. Yeah. The American one, really wish I liked it more because I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I just don't feel like her acting's there yet.
It just sucked.
Or at least it was never
like
there.
Forever ago.
Yeah, like back then it just wasn't
15 years
there.
ago.
Yeah, it wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, unless you have anything to add to this.
No, I think that's really about it.
All right. So anyway, so the next episode we're going to be doing The Ring versus Ringu.
Yeah.
Let's see if this matches up. Let's see if I don't, if I actually man up a little bit and I don't piss myself during this one. And shut the fuck up. And then after that, we will be doing The Ring versus The Grudge.
Which is an actual movie.
Yes, and probably more in my wheelhouse since I like bad movies.
It's going to be so bad.
But anyways, so thank you guys for listening. And catch us for the next one. Or don't. I don't care. Fuck you. Don't say bye to the people.
Have a great night.